Welcome to Toolbox. In this video, we'll review the lettering tool. That is the yellow tool on the left. When you click on it, its options will open up on the right. And you can see right from the top that you can enter your text. You can choose a shape. You can choose an alphabet. And then you can impact the character styling. And you can even use shaping text boxes if you have the full lettering module. So without further ado, let's make some lettering and use our options. At the top of the options is my lettering box. This is where I will type my text. So lettering is easy. When I press enter, the software will generate my lettering automatically. It will use the last alphabet style and size and settings that I used. In case you want to do, let's say, a quilt label or a whole recipe towel, this would come in handy. Now, before I modify my lettering any further, I would like to see all of it on my screen. I happen to be working on a laptop with a smaller screen. At home, I have a large monitor, so I typically see more of my embroidery in one screen. So if you need to zoom out to see your work more clearly, all you have to do is position the mouse over the embroidery field and roll the mouse wheel down towards you. That will zoom out. If you roll the mouse wheel up, away from you, it will magnify. Now I can see all of my embroidery and I'm ready to begin applying options and modifying it. Our first option is lettering shape. That is essentially the baseline. By default, I'm using a straight flat baseline. You could use vertical text, you could arch the text above or below, and you could create circular text lines. That would be very handy, for instance, if you want to do a badge. If you want to apply a baseline, all you have to do is click on its button. And in this case, it will create a circular above, and I can change now the radius, which is determining the circle to which the letter will conform. So if I put a 4-inch radius, you can see that that will open up my lettering and conform it a little better. You can increase manually up and down after that if you want to fine tune. If you apply a baseline and you decide, for instance, no, that's not exactly what I want, no problem. You can undo to return your lettering to its previous state. Now that we have lettering and a baseline, we are ready to choose an alphabet. When you reach this section, you will have 100 alphabets to choose from if you have the full lettering module. That is the module included with the bundle, for instance. If you have lettering basic module, you will have 20 alphabets to choose from. To make it easier to choose an alphabet, they are organized by categories. And if you drop the list here, you'll see that there are several categories like block, script, serif. So if you choose a specific category, it will only list the alphabets matching that category. That will narrow your search and make it a little quicker. If you are just auditioning alphabets, not knowing exactly which way you want to go, no problem. If you choose the top of the category list, you will get all the alphabets listed. And you can see that the letter A is represented in the style of each alphabet to help start the audition process. If you know the name of an alphabet or if somebody suggested one, you're not quite sure, you can actually type a search word and say, let's say you're looking for a script alphabet. So if you type script, those alphabets that have the word script in their name would show up. So that would also be a tool you can use to narrow your alphabet search. Now, once you are settling on an alphabet, let's say I like bold block. You may want to know what is in this alphabet. Not all alphabets have all characters in them. So there is a preview button that you can click that will give you two pieces of information. First, the size range recommended for that alphabet, the letter height, minimum and maximum. These alphabets are all digitized, programmed to give you professional embroidery results within the size range. So if you want to stay within that range, you should be good to go. If you want to exceed either smaller or larger the size range, you will probably have to do a test stitch out just to be sure. The second piece of information is what is contained in this alphabet. This particular one has all the uppercase letters, lowercase numbers, symbols, and a lot of foreign letters. these foreign letters are not all included in all alphabets. So it's a good habit to preview the alphabet first before you commit to using it. That way there will be no surprises. So at this point, I have picked an alphabet. I will be ready to move on and go to character styling. Now for character styling, you have to go to this next section. And here you have four main options. One is the size of the letters. This is actually the height of your letters. So you can change this here very easily. If I needed my letters to be 1.5 inch tall, I type the number, I press enter, and it is immediately implemented. Now bear in mind that when you increase the height of a letter, there's also the matching increase in width because it's proportional. But if you needed to widen your letters without increasing the height, you could also do this with a percentage change here. So if I need my lettering to be a little wider, I could say, let's say 120%, and that once I press enter, this would make my lettering just a bit wider. It is analogous to boldface, but it is not quite a bolding of your letters. It's just making them wider. If you want to slant your letters and skew them, that is tantamount to italicizing your letters. Then you can put a degree skew factor, and I will put 15 degrees, and you will see that it will slant my lettering a little bit. Now there is one word of caution when slanting lettering. The software will do what you ask. However, your brain insists that lettering be easily legible. So when it comes to slanting or italicizing, less is more. There is a maximum that the software will let you use, about 60 degrees, but that would be way too much. Let me give you an example. If I put 50 degrees in there, that becomes a little bothersome. Your brain is probably not liking this lettering right now. So again, less is more. I find that on average, 10 to 20% skewing or slanting is sufficient for lettering to generate the effect. So I typically will start at 15 degrees, and then you can see the control on the right here where I can increase by 1 degree until I like the final results. So the lettering will gradually slant a little more until I like it, and then I'm good to go. The next control is the spacing between the letters. You may have heard the word kerning. That will just increase the space between individual letters. So if I put, let's say, 1/10 of an inch between the letters, that would space them out. This may be useful if you're doing a logo or a banner. It's not something I use all the time because the kerning is automatically done for you, the regular kerning in each alphabet. But for special effects, this is a great tool. And again, if you make a change that you want to try and you decide, no, I don't need this, you can undo and return the lettering to its previous state. Below now, you see the justification. You can justify text to the left, to the right, or to the center, which can come in very handy. For instance, you may want a left justification for a recipe towel, or you may want a center justification for a quilt label. So that would be for character styling. The last set of options we have in the lettering tool is the text box. Now this option is only available if you have the full lettering module. It is not available for lettering basic. Now what it does is it generates a shape, as you can see here illustrated in white, and it will force the text to conform to that shape. So let's say I want my lettering to form a wave. I can simply select it first and then click on the shape that I want, and you can see my lettering is automatically conformed to that shape. Now I am not limited to the prefabricated shape itself. You can see here, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that I have the blue lines, which are the shape itself as currently generated. But there are also these little red triangles that are the shape points. And if I grab one of these and drag it, I can now modify the shape and accentuate the effect if I wanted to. So you can modify the prefabricated shape, which gives you even more options. So at this point, we would have all the options reviewed. There's one more thing you can do, which is very simple. Once you've tailored and fashioned your lettering by alphabet style, shape, and so on, you may decide I need the size to be a bit different. So You can use the basic sizing controls that are always available in your embroidery in toolbox. You have the vertical, the height sizing on its own. If you grab that, let's say, and drag it up, it would increase the height of your lettering. If you wanted to modify the width, you could grab the side control and either reduce or increase the width. If you grab the corner control, as always, that will resize your lettering proportionately in the same factor in height and width. And if for some reason you needed to rotate your lettering a little bit to fit it onto the project, you can still use the rotation control that is always available. And that would be the fine touches that you can do before you send it to machine.